The Syracuse Board of Zoning Appeals meeting of March 31st, 2022 is now in session. The first order of business is to approve the minutes from the March 9th, 2022 meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any modifications, discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
I hear all four voices. The minutes are officially adopted. Second order of business is to adopt the resolutions from the March 9th, 2022 meeting. Is there a motion to adopt the resolutions?
So moved.
Karen seconds. Any modifications or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
No opposition, abstentions. The resolutions are officially adopted. The board will now conduct the public hearings on today's agenda. The way we work it here is that first the applicant or the applicant's representative will state the reasons for the requested variance and present any material or documentation which is to be considered regarding the proposal. Next, persons wishing to speak in favor of the proposal will be given the opportunity to address the board. Then persons who wish to speak in opposition will be allowed to address the board. Finally, the applicant or representative will be given the option to make any closing arguments or comments to the board. Following the public hearings this afternoon, the board may make a decision on each application heard. The board may also decide to hold its decision until the next public hearing. If the hearing is closed, no additional information will be allowed into the record except for the information that the board may request. That information will be available for public review at the zoning office in City Hall Commons. We have one case today, and staff will now introduce that application. Please.
Okay, the first application is V-22-01. It's a use variance request to waive permitted uses at property. Oh, geez, I skipped, sorry. V-79-082M1. Use variance request to waive permitted uses at 940 Comstock Avenue. The request is to expand office space. The owner applicant is Oakwood Cemetery. The zoning district is residential Class B.
Are you the applicant?
Agent?
Okay, would you please step up, say your name and address, and give us, present the case, please.
My name is Glenn Perrier. I'm a senior project manager with the Hayner Hoyt Corporation, and we're acting as an agent with Oakwood Cemeteries to hopefully enter in a contract to do these renovations.
Right, what's the Hayner Hoyt address, please?
625 Area Boulevard West, Syracuse, New York, 13204.
Right, thank you.
I believe. Dan Glavlin, who is the CEO, is enjoying the Florida vacation, and I told him I would show up and at least represent or hopefully ask questions. I have been involved in this project since October, and when I say we, I'll just say the owner and Hayner Hoyt and Dan Manning, architect, were faced with some additional work being the variance. So with all the back and forth, the gist of it is they do have some offices. They want to make other offices, make some interior renovations to an ADA bathroom, and then also extend a conference room into the existing garage. Also entitles replacement of exterior windows for energy savings. There is no site work involved on that other than removing the garage door and maybe adding a sidewalk or from an exit door as a fire exit. So I guess that's as much as I can say at this point. I think you have documentation and responses in the whole file back and forth, and we think we've answered everything to the best of our ability.
Let's ask the board if they have any questions.
Will this, when this project is completed, will this space be used like for people from the cemetery, like after your funeral, for a reception type thing, or no?
I would say no, not for receptions. It's more of the support staff and to meet families, to make arrangements, so on and so forth. It is not for, there may be staff meetings, in a conference room,
So like for
but
pre-planning more so.
yeah, it's the function is just to get away from, I guess, the house use, the house look. You know, there's a office here, there's an office there. So I think they want to combine it to like a sitting room, and I don't have all the plans with me.
Right.
A sitting room, and I think the conference room, there's no intentions of having receptions, parties. I think it's more of a smaller scale planning, or
What's the garage being used for now?
it's garage.
It is a garage.
I'm
And
assuming,
it's not needed anymore.
no. I mean, they've all parked on the outside. I don't know, it's probably a storage. I don't know if, there's nothing in there as far as the build out. And we're pretty much just raising the floor level, to the floor level of the house, or I'll call house, or the offices, and then pretty much just doing some ceiling work to give it a conference room, a larger space.
Other questions?
So the garage door will be taken out, windows, I suppose, will be put in?
Yes, we got, I think there's 2 windows on the north end where the garage is, and then there's 1 window facing Comstock. I think that's 3. There may be 1 facing the cemetery, the west.
Where will the main entrance be then?
The main entrance is staying the same.
Okay.
Same front door, same porch or entry.
I had a sense from the packet that we didn't have an exact description of where the parking would be. Did you get a page with the parking spaces? I know you'd requested it. I wasn't sure you'd gotten it.
Yes, there should be one.
I believe that was submitted from Jared McCormick of,
The page and... That one?
Page 32, site plan elevation.
So, you're mainly using those 5 parking spaces that are a ways away from the garage?
yeah. And I think there was 1 handicap denoted on there at the front.
North side of the garage.
I didn't bring that with me. That's what I was referring to. I know Jared McCormick responded to, I think, Lisa's request of a parking to meet the requirements of either square footage.
Yeah. I noticed that there was a note about the sidewalk being asphalt. I thought as of last year, the city took over the maintenance of sidewalks, all sidewalks. Is that the case?
My understanding is, Neil has said, our transportation planner has said that, when they review, applications like this, and there's deficiencies in the sidewalks, they're requiring applicants, owners to make upgrades.
Okay.
But, yeah, I think there's some confusion about that.
Do we need to say something about the sidewalk then in our variance if we give a variance?
Usually typically the language is this does not relieve the applicant from any and all other state, federal, or city licensing or requirements or approvals, particularly transportation, DPW, and or engineering. So if that's in there, they will have to do it when they pull a permit.
How about screening? It looks like the screening of the parking from
And the other thing
across the
is
street is not sufficient.
you can note, just to go back to the transportation planner's comments, you can note in your motion and in your discussions that you looked at any of the comments that we give you from any of the departments, and particularly note that should be followed. And you can do that in your motion. And
I don't remember seeing anything in the comments about the screening. I'm just noticing
I'm
that.
going back to the sidewalks and
Yeah.
things like that. Screening, I'll let Lisa answer that.
Yeah, it hadn't come up, there's no residential next door.
It's across the street.
Across the street, isn't that the crematorium across the street?
Yeah, I think that, yeah, that's what I think.
If you look at the second one of my pictures, that's looking from those 5 parking spaces across the street.
So the rule is adjacent to, if you so desire to have the applicant screen and it's a reasonable condition, then that can be part of the resolution.
But by zoning, it's not required, you're saying?
Not across a right-of-way.
And there's some question as to fixing up is it the driveway or the sidewalks? And I think the applicant said it's not really part of the variance. Is that valid?
Well,
Something
that's
next
what I
year
just
that we're
said.
gonna
They are required to do it per DPW, so they will have to do it. We have a standard, language in all of our approvals, and yes, in all of our approvals, that state this does not relieve the applicant from any and all other licensing, permissions, requirements from any and all departments.
We don't have to say anything about it, and it will still
But
be addressed?
you should probably note it and discuss it,
Got it, okay,
for sure.
Okay.
yeah.
I've been told, just as on a side note, that Syracuse University maintains that sidewalk coming from Manley Fieldhouse all the way to the campus.
Meaning
And
they
they,
take the snow off of it.
well, I'm using the word maintain. I don't know what that means.
Well-
I also was told that they replaced some further on down Comstock last year. So I don't know if there's a plan on Syracuse University side of doing this, but I'm just bringing that up.
Right, and I would think that the management of the cemetery should, if they don't, they should know. So call SU and and find out.
No, it was just a question posed to me.
Yeah.
That why, it was just a question from Mr. Glavin that, Syracuse University maintains, or snowplows mainly, but maintains, I don't know if,
Yeah, I understand the ambiguity of that.
They do across the street as well, clear the sidewalks in front of the single-family homes there too.
Other questions? Okay, thank you. There is no one here, so I'm not going to ask if there's anybody here to,
In favor of it.
or in favor or against. So we'll close that hearing. And we'll go right to ask if anybody has a motion. We need a motion.
Make a motion, we approve.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, please go through the, I saw, page 3.
Page 3, the use variance test, number 1, the applicant cannot maintain a reasonable return provided lack of return is substantial as demonstrated by competent financial evidence. I was told before we started that this does not apply today because this is a modification. If I'm wrong,
No, they do have to show why they can't use it as what is permitted. So if you
Oh.
need more information from the applicant, but it's an expansion of a use that's not permitted, so, yes.
do we need?
Go through the standards?
Yes.
Okay, so, all right, so that's kind of open right now. Number 2, the alleged hardship relating to the property in question is unique and does not apply to a substantial portion. Well, the house is basically in a cemetery, and there's not many, on that side of the street, there really are no other houses, so it is a unique situation. The requested variance, if granted, will not alter the essential character. From what I understand, there will be no main character changes because the house will still, from what I understand, still look like a home, but it will have the garage door will be removed and windows placed in there. And the alleged hardship is not self-created, while there again, and over time things, the uses change. Maybe there's more employees at this time than there were in 79 when this first came to the board. So I would say it's not a it's not a big self-created hardship.
I'm just gonna pipe in, and of course, this is a use variance, we understand that. And it really is not related to anything financial at all. I know you don't wanna hear that, and that's not the way the use variances are looked at, but it's turning in from a storage space to a meeting space, right?
What you're looking at here is a use variance to allow an office in a residential class A1, oh, hold on a second,
Probably RA1.
D, I think.
where dwelling units are mainly the permitted uses. So you can use that as the starting point to your discussion about a house in a cemetery.
Oh, okay, so that discussion would still be, should we be turning this back into a residence? It's inside a cemetery, it's the offices, and I still don't get where this would, where financial criteria would apply to this.
Well, it's, a residence would have a garage usually, and now they're converting the garage that usually would go with the residence to more office, which means an expansion of the variance.
But it's not a residence.
On the other hand, I don't think if that house went on the market as a single-family home, I doubt there'd be a big demand for someone to move into the cemetery.
The Addams family, I guess.
But didn't they shift that into a commercial space, Heather?
In 1979.
So
Yeah,
there was a variance, so you can use that, look at your 1979 variance that we included it in here, but,
And 1998 variance,
yes,
and I was there, yeah.
yes.
That's how old I am, yeah.
And looking at, those resolutions and those rationales and also the applicant's still here, you can ask for more information, as to why this cannot be used as a dwelling unit.
Used as what?
Dwelling.
Yeah,
I don't see,
I
I
don't,
don't see a purpose for that.
yeah, yeah. You know, can I pipe in?
Yeah, because you always make a second.
Yeah, from my perspective, this, and having worked with the Oak Ridge Cemetery as a Parks Commissioner, because part of that cemetery is park land and we help maintain it. That building, since I've been a commissioner, has always served as a commercial space, and I've been in it. And for us to even think of it as a residential, I don't know who would want to live there at this given point in time. It's a business, and it has served as a business as long as I've been there. From that capacity, and then having buried my aunt and mother at this particular location, that building has always been a commercial use space from my perspective. So I don't see any of the changes that they want to make that's going to adversely affect the neighborhood. If anything, it should probably enhance it. And even the 5 parking spots, it's not like they're there 24 hours a day. They're there during a working day and then they're out of there. And so I don't think the residents would be, who live across the street, would be adversely affected. And I think if they were, they would be here, and to give a dissenting view. So,
Well, so it,
so with that being said, I just, I would give my vote of approval, because the improvements they want to make is only going to enhance the property and enhance the commercial use, and to better serve people who want to bury their loved ones and family members within that area.
And 1979, permit a business office, 1998 to construct a garage.
Yeah.
So this has all been part of the business aspect of it.
That's right.
Any other discussion? If not, yeah, go ahead.
I think part of what is happening here is the fact that 81 closed off the main entrance, and that shifted things. That goes back a long ways. I also want to note for the record that the sidewalk in front of this area is asphalt in one way or another. That should be remedied.
That should be remedied. City's
Should be brought up
record.
to code.
And do we have to make a secret declaration on this?
Yes.
It'd be a negative seeker.
Okay. All those in favor of approving the variance, say aye.
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 Okay, it's unanimous. Thank you. Authorizations for April 21st. There are two. I count two. What do you see?
Three.
Oh, I see. Okay, I didn't see the, I'm sorry. Plymouth Drive, Lodi, James Street. Motion to accept the authorizations.
So moved.
Say aye.
Aye.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor say
Aye.
Aye.